Hi, I'm Edwin Samuelson, and welcome to Eric's apartment, and we're hosting the Cinefiles today. Today, to my left, Mr. Jeff Galashaw.
How is everybody?
To his left, Eric Cohen. This is his place. And to his left, Mike Bolt.
Gloria, where are you?
Okay, this is Eric's topic today, and the show is Oscar winners. We're talking about films that should have won the Oscar but didn't, weren't nominated but should have been, and ones that won and didn't deserve it. Now, Eric, this is a topic I know you have a lot to say about. I mean, what film, let me just start off with this. What film do you think is the absolute worst Oscar winner ever for Best Picture?
Ever for
One is
honestly?
like, yeah, which one is like, holy
Forrest
shit.
Gump.
Really?
Because it went up against Pulp Fiction.
That was
Enough said.
Now, let me ask you, Forrest Gump was favored to win from the beginning. Was it correct? Am I correct, or did you think?
Well, let
Pulp
me
Fiction was gonna
dwell deeper into my criticism.
win? Okay.
I thought Forrest Gump wasn't near as subversive as people thought it was. I thought it missed the boat in satire entirely with its, the considering that they're doing the Zelig stuff where they have him incorporate. And plus, anybody, I had friends that would say, after that film came out, like friends who I thought I respected enough to let it go, but I couldn't, where they say, oh man, I saw Forrest Gump, it changed my life. I'm like,
I had a friend that said the same thing too.
What the fuck is wrong with you? And I'll tell you another reason why. It's very simple.
Spirited.
Three words. Former movie, Little Big Man.
Oh,
Little
Big
Man.
Tell you what, let's put Forrest Gump on the stove, boil it down to its very essence. You know what it is? Forrest Gump is a film about a retarded man that succeeds.
George Bush?
Yeah, well...
Sorry.
But the sequel he doesn't. The sequel, because of the Apple stock he gets in the movie, and in the book, the novel, the sequel, they actually goes bust. But the point is, it's not an original story. It's been done before with a naive character, goes through different key moments in history in a specific time, and it's been done before. It wasn't original, but everyone was making out like, oh no one's ever seen something like this before. It's changing my life and the meanings and everything. Life is but a box of fucking chocolate.
I hate that
fucking
film.
piece of shit
The
film.
reason I hate it, I think it's a very mean-spirited film. I really do. Where you see, as my friend pointed out, I mean, for years I just didn't think too much about it. Then when I got older and more political, not that I'm trying to put political stuff in there, it's very conservative, the film.
But what's not that it's conservative or
it's
liberal. It's just
hammered.
it's candy color. It's
Sappy.
It's just
Treatment of
sappy.
Jenny.
I can't even believe you brought up the term subversive. That's the most unsubversive film.
That's what I said. I said
like,
people were
who
telling me
used
thinking
that
it was more
term?
subversive than it actually was. It wasn't. It's not that politically intelligent either. It's just a very simple, dumb thing. And it's too bad because I like Tom Hanks. I think he's done some extraordinarily good work. And some people may disagree with me, but I think he's really good.
I think Tom Hanks, when he's challenged, he's a very good actor.
I
Was
like
mentally
Mrs.
challenged in
Sean Penn. I like Gary Sinise. I mean, I'm glad that film kind of made his career from just being like a journeyman actor to being sort of a star. Unfortunately, he wound up doing a lot of the same parts, playing the same villains in the same action type movies. Reindeer Games.
Yeah, I think that's a good choice, though. I think Forrest Gump really is an overrated film.
Gary Sinise was in Reindeer Games?
Yes, he was.
He was the bad guy.
God, I didn't know.
He was the bad guy.
It had Ben
Heavy
Affleck.
metal
I wasn't going on my
He
way
was
to see
bad.
it.
But no,
I
I
like
agree
Jack
with
the
you. I think in a few years people are going to agree with you on Forrest Gump and see it's not really as good as that.
I think people already are.
Do you think so?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, let me throw this out at you guys then. Do you think Forrest Gump was a worse film than, let's say, Crash?
I think Crash is one of the bottom of the heap ones. That was actually one of my picks for...
That's actually a good question, because I don't know. I was more angry at Forrest Gump than I was at Crash.
Well, the thing
But
about
then
Forrest
again-
Gump was going against Pulp Fiction. I mean, that's...
Well, that was the key reason why I was pissed. I was like, okay, you guys don't know what good filmmaking is. If you can't recognize this film, but you're going to give it all for this. I say that Forrest Gump, this is just in the topic on Forrest Gump. Forrest Gump is like Dirty Dancing for the people that think.
You're right. It could be in the same universe.
It's like people who think Dirty Dancing is a special film, adolescent film for them, are gonna love Forrest Gump and think it's a deep film.
Do you think Forrest Gump is worse than Dances with Wolves?
Yes, I do, because I do think
Dances with Wolves has some good stuff.
Dances with Wolves is partially a good film. There's some really good stuff.
It's beautiful cinematography.
Even though there's some self-indulgence.
Do you think, okay, all right, let me throw this out. Do you think it was a bigger crime that Forrest Gump beat out Pulp Fiction than it was Dances with Wolves beating out Goodfellas?
I have,
Ooh.
I
That's a good one.
gotta go with Goodfellas because Goodfellas
Yeah.
is
Exactly.
even though
my favorite movie of all time.
I gotta say
I'm going to say
The answer is
no,
better
and
film.
for a very simple reason. Not that I don't respect anyone saying, because Goodfellas, yeah, absolutely was 1,000 times better. However, I would say that at the time, although now it may not seem so much because he seems to be making the same kind of movie, at the time, Pulp Fiction was completely revolutionary. It was taking certain aesthetic that no one ever associated with being a good, filmmaking, and turning it into brilliant filmmaking. And that was Goodfellas. We've seen Martin Scorsese do that before. I mean, that wasn't unusual. We've seen him do it.
But
It
now
is
you can look back.
It's a great film.
If you
Right.
put Goodfellas and Pulp Fiction side by side, Goodfellas is going to win that all the
It
time.
depends. That's a matter of opinion. That's subjective.
I don't
I
think
don't think that's a fair thing to
but
say.
if you line up 10 current filmmakers right now and ask them what, I mean, there's been a lot of filmmakers that went on record saying Goodfellas was their like template on what they were doing. John Favreau has said that. The Hughes brothers have said that. I mean,
A lot of people have used Pulp Fiction as their template.
But don't you think that all Pulp Fiction did was give us a lot of Pulp Fiction rip-off movies in the 90s?
that's one thing I
So
really
has Martin
hate about.
Scorsese.
That's the only
There's been
bad thing.
there was a lot of gangster rip-offs due to whatever
Look at
even
The Godfather.
Martin Scorsese
Yeah,
ripping
exactly.
off
The
himself. Like
Godfather
Casino
started.
was just another variation of Goodfellas.
I can
Well,
see it.
but
I
then
can
we
see
can
it.
go back to the argument that Tarantino makes the
I
same
mean, this
film over
exactly.
and over
That's
again.
what I'm saying. I'm just saying. That's what I'm saying. It's a dangerous ground to say which is the improvement over the other because they're.
No, I'm saying which was the bigger travesty. That's what I'm saying.
I'm just saying Pulp Fiction, for me, it was Pulp Fiction only because that to me, it just angered me so much that people weren't recognizing what was at the time revolutionary filmmaking.
But it's a
and
much
going for
darker
something
and a
safe.
much more challenging
Whereas
film than-
Goodfellas, it's like, Scorsese has, been doing that. That was expected from Scorsese, as phenomenally good as that film is.
Whereas Quentin Tarantino came out
Yeah,
of nowhere.
that came out of left field.
And I give credit to Tarantino. At that time, I mean, the filmmaking he was making could have been considered schlocky, hipster, doofus filmmaking. I mean, he really makes something and shows, hey, this is a great movie. And, he started to...
But I will say that, but what you're saying is that was expected out of Scorsese. Not really, because what he did is he took the gangster genre and turned it on its ear. Because it is a very different film. Because what gangster film did he make before that? Mean Streets? That's not really a gangster film. That's a neighborhood.
Well-
He made Raging Bull. That was before Goodfellas.
Well-
he made The King of
Well, I
Comedy.
can see
That was
where
before.
I can see where Mike's coming from.
No, I see
because-
what you're saying, but I think what you're going down is you're trying to say, no, you're
Yeah,
wrong
jump in.
because
Well,
this was
okay.
this, and what you're citing to
No,
as an argument, I would say that's subjective.
What I think Mike is trying to say is that beforehand we had seen The Godfather, which is this great, illustrious film where
Epic.
everybody wears these great suits. It's more like business. Whereas Goodfellas showed you the guys who were actually in the streets and doing the dirty work, and showed that the life wasn't as glamorous as we have been.
My argument is not. I love
You
Goodfellas.
took it down this pathway.
All right, well, let's do this.
Just a whole episode
I think
like
we
that.
said that. I think we both agree. Goodfellas and Pulp Fiction are two
That's
excellent
enough
films
of your
that should have
hijinks.
won. We shouldn't compare it to apples and oranges.
They're both great films.
Pulp Fiction had an impact on me at the time. It was the first time I saw it in a long time that I did not want to end while I was watching it. And-
Except I wanted it to end whenever Quentin Tarantino was on the screen.
which wasn't a lot.
Yeah, it's only like 5 10.
And I remember there was a guy in back of me
This
that
is
during
one of
like
his
when he was
lesser-
talking about whatever he was riffing on, sorry guys, when he was talking about dead nigger storage and the
YouTube fans, and
I don't like you using that word.
slap him.
Dead
But
Negro story.
But there was a guy behind me that when he goes, when he's going off about like, do I look like this or whatever, and this guy behind me goes, shut up, Quentin. I just thought, I kind of feel that way. And that was when I wasn't annoyed with Quentin at all. That's when I was kind of amused by the little character that he came out, he was going to the Angelica and he was drinking his hot chocolate on MTV and he was talking to Kennedy. I kind of bought into this, like, here's this like little indie wonderkin that's made good and he's made a really fantastic film and stuff. And so, and then when this guy's like, just shut up, Quentin, I thought,
Let's get back on topic here.
All right, anyways.
Now you said Crash was yours, which I think is a good one.
Yes.
Now we talked about that. So,
I agree.
what about you, Mike? You had one.
well, ironically, I was going to say, now what I brought up with the examples of Goodfellas and Dances with Wolves and Pulp Fiction and Forrest Gump, I would say the one that just confused me and annoyed me was the fact that A Beautiful Mind beat out The Fellowship of the Ring. just dumbfounded at that you had this amazing cinema achievement with what was at the time called an unfilmable novel for many filmmakers, including Stanley Kubrick. And then Peter Jackson, this little cult filmmaker out of New Zealand, makes this fantastic visual, wonderful film and tells a story that's compelling and you know is going to lead to other stories. And then you had A Beautiful Mind, which it's Ron Howard. And as you coin, I'll give Eric the credit on this, he calls Ron Howard Steven Spielberg light. Ron Howard, it seems, most of the time is incapable of making a deep film. Even when he's given deep material like Frost Nixon, it escapes him.
That's a crock of shit to get nominated for that. That was not a directed movie. It's an adaptation of a stage play.
Yeah. But I'm just
it's
saying.
a film that worked better as a stage play.
I bet it did. Everyone has that.
So I'm just saying, that confused me a little bit. That confused and annoyed me. Although, I don't know. There you go.
Well, I think...
I agree with you, but what pissed me off about The Beautiful Mind was I thought it was the most overrated piece of shit.
Well, I think the whole thing that
I really
Beautiful
thought that.
And it's
Mind
fictional too.
got, I think what got the audience was that whole little twist towards the middle of the film, whereas if you're paying attention, you'll see it coming anyway.
Yeah,
And
it's
I think-
imaginary friends.
Exactly, and I think that is what fooled the audience into, oh man, I'm so shocked, this is so different. Whereas with Fellowship of the Rings, I agree with you now. Me and you have disagreed on this film many times. I think it is an achievement of Peter Jackson, but I think maybe the thinking was they knew that there were going to be 3 of these.
That's
so
what
they were
everybody
waiting. I'm just
says,
saying,
but still.
I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying
Yeah.
that is why I.
And that's poor thinking. That's really poor.
I know, but with Oscars, you also have to, instead of giving it the actual best film of the year, it's more politics than anything.
I gotta agree with him on that now. I gotta say, I think Fellowship of the Ring, I'm proud to say I've been a Peter Jackson film fan since 1988, since I saw Bad Taste. Honest to God truth, so I can say this. I think Fellowship of the Ring is the least entertaining of the entire series. I think the best one, and I think the one that really should have won the Oscar, was The Two Towers. I think that is the
God,
best.
I couldn't disagree with you more. Even though it's hard for me to criticize Two Towers, I felt that was the slowest one.
I can't believe it. I mean, the thing with the tree character is one of the most unusual and interesting characters I've ever seen in the movie.
The reason why I say with the Fellowship of the Ring, which gets it almost edges Return of the King for me, but it's very, very close. You have that beginning, and Peter Jackson had this wonderful quote on the DVD. He says he wanted to make the Fellowship of the Ring, Two Towers, and Return of the King like James Bond movies. Get the audience from the get-go in those first few minutes,
Right.
and then they'll never let you go throughout the whole film. And when you see that battle at Mount Doom, I mean, that is amazing. Those special effects with the volcano going off and the 2 armies battling, I was breathless. And then, to me, for genre filmmaking, the second they walk into the mines of Moria to the time they leave is perfect filmmaking.
But you know,
It's
I
just
love,
perfect.
yeah, I agree
Perfect
with
genre
you.
filmmaking.
But you see, my thing is like, I don't like one film above the other because there's always something in each film that's
magnificent.
Well, like Two Towers, the battle scene at, oh God,
Helm's Deep.
Helm's Deep. I think that's a much better battle scene than in the third film.
Yeah, I disagree.
It's just that for some reason there's an emotional component there where you just get the sense that they're doomed. This is it. But I loved how they handled that, and I was just blown away by that.
My problem is that they introduce so many characters, and you have to learn all these characters' backstories in such a short period. And I mean, even though it's a 3-hour movie, I mean, I really, you know what I'm saying? I really feel this one set up the other movies. I know people say, oh, that's a thing, don't complain.
Well, what else? Because we spent a great deal of time talking about Lord of the Rings and the Peter Jackson episode, whether they were like Oscar films.
I can take the one. I mean, now let me pick the movie that. Like, since I'm sorry, I didn't because I was just responding to you.
Yeah.
The one that I think movie to me is a travesty it didn't win. We were talking earlier. I think Rocky is a good movie, but Network is the movie that really should have won the Best Picture that year.
Yeah.
Network is one of the
Well, it
most
seems
brilliant
like we
films.
did-
Although I think Network's a little dated now, the dialogue. I think it's a little too on the nose in its
But it
political
was
message.
before its time.
Yeah, but
It's
it's very prescient though.
At its time, it
Very
looked
prescient
ridiculous.
right now.
I just saw it again recently. I think it holds up wonderfully. I mean, it's got one of the best performances by Peter Finch.
Peter Finch.
I mean, people have
Who
quoted-
died just before the Oscar.
Yeah, one of the first person. Now, of course, Heath Ledger is next, but I think that performance is absolutely phenomenal. I mean, there's a reason I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take it anymore. It's so well remembered. I mean, it's brilliant.
Let's see, I only have one problem with the film, is that the woman who plays,
Faye Dunaway?
no, not Faye Dunaway, the man's wife who Faye Dunaway sleeps.
Beatrice Street.
Yes, she won Best Supporting Actress for
6 minutes.
Exactly. She's only in it for 6 minutes. That is the only complaint.
Well,
I have
look at
about-
Judi Dench. She
That's
was
I was gonna say Shakespeare in Love's another good.
But at least she was in it for 20 minutes.
No, she wasn't.
Yes, she was.
No, Judi
Yes
Dench
and no,
only
I
had
do like
6 minutes
Shakespeare
screen time.
in Love.
They even published
But
that.
I
in Entertainment
don't
Weekly.
think it deserved, like the whole thing with Judi Dench, that's probably the worst example of being Oscar nominated for something.
Because that they were
But-
rewarding her because she should have won it the year before for
Yeah,
what
But
was
see,
that,
at
Mrs.
least
Brown.
I can say that.
She should have won it for Mrs.
But when
Brown.
Judi Dench, at least her scenes felt something. When it was in network,
scene.
I didn't feel anything from Beatrice Straight that deserved to even be nominated. She had one good scene. I still wasn't that impressed by
Okay,
it.
let's do some either or, guys.
That should have been best cameo performance.
Let's do some either or
Yes.
here. Well, what do you think? Do you think that Ordinary People should have beat out Raging Bull?
No,
No,
that's a travesty.
that's a very easy one.
I think Ordinary People is actually a pretty fantastic.
It's not-
I think, or yeah, I'm gonna agree. Ordinary People is a good film.
I think
That's
Raging
part-
Bull's better though, but I'm just.
Raging Bull is also one of my favorite movies of all time.
Scorsese
So
even
I'm a
said
little
he
biased.
should have won the Oscar.
But Ordinary People was a very good film.
It is a
was
good film.
difficult to pull off that what they did in that film.
And it's still
They did
Redford's
well.
deepest film by far.
It could have been too
The only good movies ever
dramatic.
made, if you ask me.
I mean,
Not a big
And
Redford fan.
Timothy Hutton, very good performance at that. Mary Tyler Moore was
I
wonderful.
wanted to save him for what has
you
happened.
didn't like A River Runs Through It?
Donald Sutherland was very good, trying to play this balance between his son that is still hurting.
Very
and-
talented.
And Judd,
that's right,
Judd
just-
Hirsch is very good as
I
a
wasn't paying
psychiatrist.
attention, sorry.
and
Yeah.
his
He
son.
never gets enough.
No, he doesn't. He was very good.
Okay, how about an either or here?
How about Chariots of Fire? That was one. What was Chariots of Fire against say?
I don't know.
I don't know.
That's a movie I really.
Well, you said before we were taping.
Yeah, I think that's an overrated choice. Don't you guys?
Why do you
I've
feel
never sat
overrated?
through it.
Why do you feel it's overrated?
It's just so long and drawn out, and it's just endless.
I have to give it
scenes.
another look because I was a kid when it came out. I didn't give it a fair shake.
All I remember is the score.
I liked it.
That's about it.
Vangelis.
Vangelis.
I liked it when I saw it when I was a kid. It's been a while since I've seen it.
Oh,
You
beat
were-
out Raiders of the Lost Ark. That's one it beat out, I think.
Well, I mean, I'm sure there are other films are nominated.
Yeah, but years ago, I mean, let's face it, genre pictures did not have too easy of a time.
And this is
Sort of
person that doesn't like
Spielberg at
Spielberg.
the time. And
Now, okay, do you guys feel that it was fair that The French Connection beat out Last Picture Show?
You know what? That one doesn't bother me because both of those films are, I think, equally excellent, but on different terms. I think The French Connection is perhaps the best police drama, thriller ever made.
I'm glad it got recognized being the kind of film that it was. So that easily could have been a genre film.
That was a B movie, basically.
And they recognized it. And it's one of the films one of the rare films that has a sequel that's just as good, I think.
And I think it's actually a different movie completely, but I love it.
When you look back, it's actually rather shocking that it did beat out Last Picture
Last
Show.
Picture
Because
Show.
that's Oscar bait that's actually intelligent and not that populist.
Right, but
That was
also
not a
because,
clap to edit, by the
because
way.
Last
That was a
Picture
fly.
Show was far more adult and far more intelligent than the typical Oscar-nominated film, that's probably why it didn't win.
Peter Bogdanovich's best film. It really is.
Okay, now this was not so much a best picture, but you know, we were talking about this off camera earlier, and I was saying that there's some of the great performances that that either were ripped off and didn't get the award or were justly rewarded. What did you guys think of Ernest Borgnine winning for Marty over Marlon Brando for On the Waterfront?
Well, it's easy. I already know why he won the Oscar. It's a piece of cake. Because he did it on TV, did he not? And people knew the performance already, so I mean, people saw it on TV, and then they saw the movie too. They already knew the character.
Oh, I don't know enough about the history.
I said
you know,
to
all
not
that
see
stuff.
either or.
You've never seen On the Waterfront?
Wow.
See, that should have been
On the
something
Waterfront
discussed in Are They That Great? On the Waterfront's great, and Marlon Brando is
That's a
fantastic.
powerful film that it does not
Really
feel
good.
dated.
Really, but amazing performance.
But I will say that
And
as
so
much
is
as
Ross Steyer is great in it. too.
I thought that whole thing was a travesty when I saw On the Waterfront because I thought, how the hell can Marlon Brando lose because this performance is so powerful? And then I saw Marty and I thought, Ernest Borgnine is really damn good. He's a guy that's a kind of a simple guy, wears his heart on his sleeve, but the Padichavsky dialogue is so good that comes out of this man's mouth.
And you're really so you know, how old were you at the time when those two films won the Oscar that year?
I was negative 32.
You know what's so funny though is that I don't think you have to worry about that because thanks to Ernest Borgnine, Marlon Brando did get another Oscar. He did get an Oscar because don't forget Borgnine was supposed to play the Godfather. That's true.
Yeah, that's true.
So
Well, okay.
And don't forget, I think the Godfather.
He
is
turned
more
up in
iconic
an ER
character.
episode last week.
I don't
Someone
watch
told me it was
it.
on ER.
I will say, okay, and one thing, I just, speaking of greatest Oscar tragedies, I don't want to forget this one, but I'm sorry, but Cuba Gooding Jr. beating out William Macy for Best Actor is just...
Show me the money.
I just wanted to...
You and your racist.
Yeah. Racist Michael
Why
comes
did you
back
have to
again.
pick- Why did you have to pick that one?
Why did-
All of them.
Why didn't James Woods win for Ghosts of Mississippi? I'll never know.
No. Well, see,
Ghost of Mississippi?
that kind of saves me from me bringing up my Holly Berry versus Sissy Spacek argument. But the one I actually wanted to go either or, which I always find interesting, is Kevin Spacey for American Beauty winning over Denzel Washington for The Hurricane. Now, I know The Hurricane wasn't that great of a film, but his performance
It's
was...
pretty entertaining, but you're right, Denzel. Well, hey, I mean, let's talk about greatest Oscar ripoffs. Al Pacino's Whoah beat out Denzel Washington.
Well, that was my second. That was going to be my second one.
Holy shit.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Holy shit.
I didn't like either one of them, so. there you
But
go.
I
Oh, that's
said,
unbelievable.
it's
I
Kevin
mean,
Spacey.
his
I remember being like one of a huge Oscar, and I knew he wasn't going to win, but one of the big disappointments for me was when James Woods was nominated for, but didn't win for Salvador. But I knew he wasn't going to win it.
Yeah, it's
the
too
film
small a
just,
film.
it was too small a film, it didn't get that exposure. I was impressed that he was even nominated. I
Oh.
was really rooting for him.
You have something about Platoon, don't you? We were talking about that.
Well, I was going to say Platoon's probably my favorite post-1980 Oscar-winning film in terms of, movies that deserved it. In terms of actually being nominated and winning.
That film still holds up today. It's still fantastic.
It's probably Oliver
great,
Stone's
it's
best
a
film.
great film. It's a great
And a
film.
great ensemble film, too.
Well, okay, I have one quick question, because I know you're a notorious, not the biggest fan of Spielberg, but tell me, do you think Cider House Rules deserved to beat Saving Private Ryan for Best Picture that year? Even though Steven Spielberg won Best Director.
What
No,
one?
but Cider House Rules didn't win
It
Best
didn't win
Picture. It was
Best Picture.
Traffic.
Oh, it was Traffic?
Yeah.
Traffic.
See, never mind.
So it didn't deserve it.
It's sad.
And that's a good question. It didn't
Says-
deserve
I'll
it.
tell you about Saving Private Ryan, not to go crazy on this. Saving Private Ryan, great first half, then it just becomes cliche character. You got the Jewish guy who's like, oh, the Nazis are gonna get me. Then you got the Irish guy and all this. It becomes.
Well, I mean, we've got
Everything that Ed just said, I agree with 300%.
Yeah, we've gone through this
actually
before.
have-
That
What are the
Spielberg
opening
doesn't
battles?
know how to end. He doesn't know how to do last acts.
And by the way, my grandfather was at the beach at Normandy, so I'm very proud.
And it had
And
been
my
recently.
grandfather fought in the Pacific.
But I agree with you. I agree with what you said, Saving Private. That year, I mean, it wasn't a very strong year for movies anyway. What? We had Cider House Rules, Saving Private Ryan, Traffic, which Traffic is okay.
It's overrated.
It's a little over bloated.
I really liked it at the time, but I wasn't sure if that was something that was going to hold up over time.
Right.
But Benicio del Toro's role as the cop was very good.
I got
Yes.
one. I got one. A good one. Gladiator.
I
That-
really enjoyed it. I
Gladiator
really
is
liked
an
it a lot.
okay movie, but it is not that. It won best special effects, and the special effects in that CGI is some of the worst I've ever seen in a major.
But let me
The
tell you,
bad.
that's also one of those things where people will just start doing the checks. It's like going into a voting booth. If you're a Democrat, you're gonna just start marking Democrat, down the list. And that's what sometimes people do. I don't know so much anymore because people
Wait,
tend
would
to
you care to explain that analogy again?
You know how you're looking at the ballot and you see if it's Gladiator, and you're just like, I like Gladiator, Gladiator this, Gladiator that, Gladiator special effects, Gladiator best sound editing.
I mean, in terms of the Oscars.
Yes.
Oh, okay, I thought you said
You know.
like their expectations in terms of seeing.
I got one.
Yeah.
Titanic over LA Confidential. That's a tough one.
But you
I
look
like
at
both of them.
Titanic and it's like, well, this is Oscar bait from the get-go.
Yeah,
but
but
LA
see,
Confidential is just a
Titanic,
wonderful
more
film.
technical filmmaking versus LA Confidential, just good filmmaking. But I will agree with you on one thing about Peter Jackson. Heavenly Creatures only got a Best Original Screenplay nomination that year, and I thought it should have been up there for Best Picture and Best Actress for Kate Winslet.
I thought the other actress was just as good, if not better.
Melanie Linsky, she had more of the harder role to pull off, but I wasn't as impressed. She didn't make as deep an impression as Kate Winslet did in her.
If it wasn't for that film, there would be no Peter Jackson as we know it today in Hollywood. That's the
Exactly.
film that got him the attention in Hollywood.
And talk about good special effects.
Okay,
Yes.
I have one that at the time, I was not too happy with. I did not think Silence of the Lambs was the best picture that year. I
Ooh,
thought
I gotta disagree with you.
I thought
I disagree with you
JFK
there.
was the best
No, I gotta
film
disagree.
of that
I
year.
enjoyed Silence of the
I
Lambs.
think Silence of the Lambs, I don't like Jonathan Demme.
See, I don't remember. I mean, you're
probably.
probably. I'm completely deferring to you. I just don't remember JFK being the same year as Silence of the
It
Lambs.
was 1991.
I was glad Silence of the Lambs won because
So was
everyone was
I.
booking for Prince of Time to win that year. And I was like, no fucking way.
I just thought JFK was such a mind explosion of different ideas being thrown out, and I thought it was so compelling. And I think what it did is, unlike Silence of the Lambs, it got people talking about history, and got people talking about what could or couldn't have been, and it provoked conversation, provoked thought.
The problem with JFK is you have to agree, Kevin Costner is not that good at JFK.
It's one of his best performances, actually.
His
And I don't
accent
like
is
Kevin
terrible.
Costner. I even told John Frankenheimer I didn't like Kevin Costner.
I heard, yeah.
Well, you know what, but you have to say what you will about Silence of the Lambs. That was a very unique film to be nominated. To be even recognized for Golden Globes and nomination.
It's the first film since One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest to win a top Best Director, Best Actress, Best Picture, Best Director, and Best Screenplay.
And I did not like Jodie Foster's.
Oh, I thought that's the best.
Well, see, I thought Jodie
Oh,
Foster
my
was
God.
good. I thought she was what the role required.
I don't care for her as an actress,
Oh,
but
but
her
say
like
what was
hillbilly
wrong?
woman just.
How would
She
you
was
like her
supposed
over?
to be
How would you
that
like
cold.
Michelle Pfeiffer?
Exactly. Yeah.
Michelle Pfeiffer was originally supposed to play that role, and I think Jodie Foster's a perfect choice because she could play the white trash.
I was going to say, just
Yeah.
in Castle, I think it was a very unique film to be recognized in the way it was, because essentially it was a horror thriller.
It is a horror film. It's the first horror film to win Best Picture. So
And it's Jonathan Demme. I mean, he made that before Philadelphia, right?
yeah, the reason he made Philadelphia is because of there was a lot of gay protesters against the film saying.
Now, do we think Philadelphia deserved all
That's
this
a piece of
accolades?
shit movie. That is a horrible movie.
It's
It's
a
so
very.
bad.
I don't think it's
Hard
horrible.
series
It's
a lot.
just very preachy.
Oh, it's
It's a very preachy
so
film.
it's so like say, give me the fucking Oscar. I have a message to make movie. I'll give another perfect example
Oh,
of a,
about
a much better movie that talks about the same stuff as a movie called Long Time Companion, a low key movie.
Yeah, it's a very good film.
Parting
Very
Glances
good,
is another
very-
one
very
with Steve
good
Buscemi, who's was excellent. He plays a gay character.
Longtime companion. What's his name? Bruce.
Bruce Davison.
Bruce Davison was ripped
And
off.
Campbell Scott.
Yeah.
That's another film. I mean, that's a
He,
film.
he was nominated, right?
Yeah, he was
Yeah.
The
nominated.
problem is that Philadelphia was made to say, we're making a movie to talk about this thing. We want an Oscar. And
It was also Hollywood's chance to pat themselves in the back for making that.
Oh, of course. And that was
Like,
John.
look at us, we're making a film about gays and AIDS.
Well, Hollywood does a
Makes us
lot.
brave.
Hollywood does a lot of that, though. They have this thing where they make a mistake one year and then they try and make it up for the next year. I mean, that's what Al Pacino. Al
Exactly.
Pacino should have been given the Oscar like 3 or 4 times before, but then he's given it to the Whoah role.
Right, Son of a
And I
Woman.
mean,
You also
Son of a
get it
Woman.
too.
It's just
You also get it for
embarrassing.
playing disabled characters. Whenever a person is disabled and they play, they
John
win.
Boyd.
Well, the funniest thing about Kate Winslet's nomination, and even she had to acknowledge it, was the great episode in Extras where she plays herself. She says the only way you can get an Oscar if you do something that's set in the Holocaust,
It's true.
and it happened in real life.
Yeah, like this. Let's see. I can name all of them right now. Holly Hunter, The Piano. Al Pacino in The Sense of a Woman. We
But
got.
The Piano was a good film.
Yeah,
Piano
Piano was a
very
good film.
Very interesting.
But there's numerous ones to mention. John Boyd, as you mentioned, her.
What do you guys think of more classic stuff that wanted to see if it holds up? Like
Last
what we
Night
mentioned
Rush
on
Hour.
Waterfront. What do you think about From Here to Eternity?
That's a good film.
I like that quite a bit.
No,
And
really
actually,
good
first, I
actors.
saw it later in life. For a film fan, you'd think I'd have seen that, when I was a kid, but I saw it recently, and I was like, wow, this is good. Montgomery Clift is really fucking good.
I was just gonna say he's the worst part of the film.
Really?
Yeah.
That's
he is-
Montgomery Clift, honey.
Yeah.
I thought
Let
Her
live
Flash reference.
A Place in the Sun. I just thought he was so
I think
over the
he's
top.
Really
Oh,
good
so
in it.
over
I
the
think
top.
he and Burt Lancaster work well off each other.
I thought.
I actually thought Frank Sinatra was a little.
As Maggio.
Yeah. I
Well,
thought I
don't
had
forget,
problems with
that's
that.
the movie that The Godfather, they supposedly is, the Johnny. What's the character?
That's why that's.
You guys have no comment on From Here to Eternity?
I haven't seen
I
it in many
like
years.
it.
I do remember that there's some.
I don't
It's a
really have
very. It's a good movie. I don't know if it's like the masterpiece people say it, but it is a very good movie.
What about Birdman of Alcatraz?
There's some good,
I've
very
never
good.
seen
I,
this.
yeah,
What?
I
Kelly
haven't seen a lot
Savalas is
of
very
Burt
good.
Lancaster.
Kelly
films.
Savalas is
Mhm.
very, very good.
Well, wait a minute. Was anyone Sweet Smells Success? Was anyone nominated for that?
I don't know.
I don't
It
know.
should have been because both Lancaster and Curtis were wonderful.
Because that is an amazing movie. I mean, we tend to over hype how good it is, but it really is that good. Sweet Smell of Success. And for some reason in my mind, I think Lancaster did get nominated. And I remember there's this whole talk about recently, like, what construes a Best Actor nomination nomination versus a Best Supporting Actor nomination, and I think he was nominated for Best Actor, even though Tony Curtis had more screen time than he does.
Now I have a question for you guys, because I don't know how much time we have here, but what is your favorite Best Picture winner? Like a movie that's like your favorite, and it just happens to win Best Picture.
Of all time?
Yes. I can name mine very easily.
I don't know what films.
Yeah, I'd have to really think
Or
about
I'll tell you what,
Oscar
I'll mention mine while you guys are
Well, mine's easy. Return of the King.
Return of the King. Mine would be Midnight Cowboy, which that happened to be my favorite film of all time for quite a while. Santa Sangre is an eclipse.
Well, my favorite film lost the Oscar, Goodfellas, Two Dances with Wolves. So.
But which one is your favorite that actually won an Oscar? Do you have one? What do you think is the best movie to win an Oscar?
I'll tell you, the most unexpected movie to win the Oscar is No Country for Old Men.
Actually, I was seeing that was going to happen. It was. I thought it was.
It was against competition that wasn't so great either, but
Well, hell, look at Fargo. Fargo won.
no, Fargo did not win.
Well, I'm sorry.
Best
sorry.
Director.
Yeah, it did win Best Director.
That's hard. That's a hard call for me. I mean, I like your idea of
Yeah,
Midnight
Joe
Cowboy.
Cohen.
I like Mike's.
Fargo, Joe Cohen won.
Yeah.
I like Mike's choice, but you know, I'd have to like. I'm reluctant to answer that question because I don't know.
Platoon probably
Pre
does.
1980, all the films that
Yeah,
won.
that would be mine.
I have to.
Out of
Platoon's
Africa.
very close, but I'd have to remember what films won Best Picture Oscar pre 1980, going all the way back to the beginning of the film.
But another Oscar travesty that we spoke about off camera, as we normally do. Rex Harrison for My Fair Lady beating out Peter Sellers in Doctor Strangelove. You gotta admit, that is a huge
Oh, that movie's
huge
piece of shit.
mistake.
It sucks. Okay.
Well, I don't know. It's like, but that was indicative of the period too.
Yeah.
It probably favored. I was going to say, did Mildred Pierce win Best Picture as well? I know it won Best
She
Actress.
won Best Picture.
But
I
they won
believe.
Best Picture because that's an amazing movie. That's a really
I
good
know
film.
Treasure Sierra Madre did not win Best Picture. That would have been my pick.
Yeah, I damn straight.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Well, I think that's.
Anyways, well,
yeah.
why don't we wrap this up?
Well, that's.
So you can get out of my apartment.
Yeah, we're about to be evicted from Eric's apartment. So until next
What a
week,
host.
we will see you next week, hopefully in new digs. Thank you.
Because these suck.
But LA Confidential is just a
Titanic,
wonderful
more
film.
technical filmmaking versus LA Confidential, just good filmmaking.
The problem?
No, it's okay. We're going to cut anyways because, you know, we're not intimate enough. It's just not.
Yeah, go take it out on the couch, you two.
But I will agree.
Essence, you know what it is? Forrest Gump is a film about a retarded man that succeeds.
George Bush?
Yeah, well,
Sorry,
But the sequel he doesn't. The sequel, because of the Apple stock, he gets in the movie and in the book, the novel, the sequel, they actually like goes bust. But the point is, it's like it's not an original story. It's been done before with a naive character, goes through different key moments in history in a specific time, and you know, it's been done before. It wasn't original, but everyone was making out like, oh no one's ever seen something like this before. It's changing my life and the meanings and everything.
I
Life
thought
is
it was
but a box of fucking chocolate. You know,
I
it's just
hate
a
that
fucking
film.
piece of shit
The
film.
reason I hate it, I think it's a very mean-spirited film. I really do. Where, you know, you see, as my friend pointed out, I mean, for years I just didn't think too much about it. Then when I got older and more political, not that I'm trying to put political stuff in there, it's very conservative, the film.
But what's not that it's conservative
Oh,
or
it's
liberal. It's just it's
hammered.
it's candy color. It's
Sappy.
it's just
Treatment of
sappy.
Jenny.
I can't even believe you
Over
brought up the term
simplistic.
subversive. That's the most unsubversive film.
That's what I
I've
said.
ever
I
I
said
was like,
people were
who
telling me
used
thinking
that
it was more
term?
subversive than it actually was. It wasn't. It's not that politically intelligent either. It's just a very simple, dumb thing. And it's too bad because I like Tom Hanks. I think he's done some extraordinarily good work. And some people may disagree with me, but I think he's really good.
I think Tom Hanks, when he's challenged, he's a very good actor.
I
was
like
mentally
I like
challenged in this
Mrs.
one.
Sean Penn. I like you know, Gary Sinise. I mean, I'm glad that film kind of you know, made his career from just being like a journeyman actor to being sort of a star. Unfortunately, he wound up doing a lot of like the same parts, playing the same villains in the same action type movies. You know, Reindeer Games.
Yeah,
Snake
really,
Eyes.
I think that's a good choice, though. I think Forrest Gump really is an overrated film. And
Gary Sinise was in Reindeer Games?
Yes, he was.
He was the bad guy.
God, I didn't know.
Oh.
He was the bad guy.
It had Ben
Heavy
Affleck.
metal
I
era.
wasn't going on
Yeah,
my
he
way
was
to see
bad.
it.
But no,
I
I,
like
agree
Jack
with
the
you. I think in a few years people are going to agree with you on Forrest Gump and see it's not really as good as that.
I think people already are.
Do you think so?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, let me throw this out at you guys then. Do you think Forrest Gump was a worse film than, let's say, Crash?
I think Crash is one of the bottom of the heap ones. That was actually one of my picks for.
That's actually a good question, because I don't know. I was more angry at Forrest Gump than I was at Crash.
Well, the thing about Forrest Gump was going against Pulp Fiction. I mean. Hi, I'm Edwin Samuelson, and welcome to Eric's apartment, and we're hosting the Cinefiles today. Today, to my left, Mr. Jeff Galashaw.
How is everybody?
To his left, Eric Cohen. This is his place. And to his left, Mike Bolt.
Gloria, where are you?
Okay, this is Eric's topic today, and the show is Oscar winners. We're talking about films that should have won the Oscar but didn't, weren't nominated but should have been, and ones that won and didn't deserve it. Now, Eric, this is a topic I know you have a lot to say about. I mean, what film, let me just start off with this. What film do you think is the absolute worst Oscar winner ever for Best Picture?
Ever for
honestly? Like, yeah, which one is like, holy
Forrest
shit.
Gump.
Really?
Because it went up against Pulp Fiction.
That was
Enough said.
Now, let me ask you, Forrest Gump was favored to win from the beginning. Was it correct? Am I correct, or did you think
Well, let
Pulp
me
Fiction was gonna
dwell deeper into my criticism.
win? Okay.
I thought Forrest Gump wasn't near as subversive as people thought it was. I thought it missed the boat in satire entirely with its, the considering that they're doing the Zalick stuff where they have him incorporate. And plus, anybody, I had friends that would say, after that film came out, like friends who I thought I respected enough to let it go, but I couldn't, where they say, oh man, I saw Forrest Gump, it changed my life.
I had a friend that said the same thing too.
What the fuck is wrong with you? And I'll tell you another reason why. It's very simple.
Spirited.
Three words. Former movie, Little Big Man.
Oh,
Little
yeah.
Big Man.
Tell you what, let's put Forrest Gump on the stove, boil it down to its very
Well, that was the key reason why I was pissed off. I was like, okay, you guys don't know what good filmmaking is. If you can't recognize this film, but you're going to give it all for this. I say that Forrest Gump, this is just in the topic on Forrest Gump. Forrest Gump is like Dirty Dancing for the people that think.
You're right. It could be in the same universe.
It's like people who think Dirty Dancing is a special film, adolescent film for them, are gonna love Forrest Gump and think it's a deep film.
Do you think Forrest Gump is worse than Dances with Wolves?
Yes, I do, because I do think
Dances with Wolves has some good stuff.
Dances with Wolves is partially a good film. There's some really good stuff.
It's beautiful cinematography.
Even though there's some self-indulgence.
Do you think? Okay, all right. Let me throw this out. Do you think it was a bigger crime that Forrest Gump beat out Pulp Fiction than it was Dances with Wolves beating out Goodfellas?
I gotta go with Goodfellas, because Goodfellas is, even though
my favorite movie of all time.
I gotta say,
I'm going to say
Dances
no,
was better
and
film.
for a very simple reason. Not that I don't respect anyone saying, because Goodfellas, yeah, absolutely was 1,000 times better. However,